Hello there, everybody in the YouTube world. Thank you very much for stopping by and checking out today's video. My name is Sculpted, and today's video and the topic of this video is going to be about striker setups. So I do have a few striker setups that I want to show you guys that are going to be absolutely detrimental as a striker player to help you once you've won neutral, once you've gotten in on your opponent, once you've opened them up, is to then be able to get yourself in a situation where you can continue to open them up, not give them any breathing room, so then that way you can solidify your victory, which is where the rush down aspect of this character really comes in. So I really hope this helps you guys out. Of course, if you guys would like further assistance, or if you have any other questions or just want more one-on-one time with me and just my striker and any questions you may have, definitely do feel free to come by and hang out over at twitch.tv/sculpted, link in the description below. So without further ado, here are my striker setups for you guys. Setups with strikers. So you essentially have a 3-step rule. 1, win neutral. 2, open up your opponent. And 3, keep your pressure or open them up again and again and again and again until you win. So what I have Berserker doing right now is that if I hit him at all, and if my combo is not safe, or this setup that I'm doing is not safe, I'll get hit by it. But because it is a safe jump, this will actually stop any mashing. This will stop any rolls. This will stop any DPs. This is the best option that you have. Safe jumps in fighting games are an absolute must, and they're pretty much a win condition when it comes to striker. So in order to get this safe jump set up, you need to be able to get a hard knockdown, which this is done with the 1-inch punch. In all of my combos that I showed in my previous video, all of my combos pretty much for the most part end with a hard knockdown with this 1-inch punch. So essentially going from the triple kick into the shoulder into the 1-inch punch. That is a hard knockdown right there, which is what allows me to then go into my safe jump setup. So your ultimate goal, finish your combo with a 1-inch punch in the corner. And once you hit your opponent with this 1-inch punch, what I want you to do is I want you to just throw out a single jab, which this is just kind of, give some sort of something for your opponent to put attention on, but it's also for timing for you as the player. So after the jab, immediately jump up and click medium. And you'll see that because of the timing of this medium kick is going to be active enough and high enough to where it will still be an overhead hit on your opponent. But if they're mashing DP on wake up, it's going to keep you safe. You won't get hit by it. So if I just show you real quick. So let's say you're finishing up a combo. Just like that, and it keeps you absolutely safe. So let's just say in a situation that your opponent is actually not mashing DP and they're just going to try to block it. And you get that. So as you saw, you were able to do the safe jump and not get hit by the DP. But let's say you have an opponent that is instead just mashing on wake up, as they typically tend to do. Do your combo. And you get a full conversion off of it. You punish them for mashing. So this is such a absolutely necessary and strong tool to be able to take wins with striker. Learn to do this. You'll be able to take your turn. You'll be able to maintain pressure, and it keeps you safe from all of their defensive options outside of guard cancel. The only thing that can stop this from happening is guard cancel, but that's going to cost them 100 mana, which then you could utilize that to your advantage to get back in on your opponent, because they can't do as many big buttons as they would like normally to keep you away. So if you can just keep chipping away at their guard bar, keep making them guard cancel so that they have no mana to do damage to you or keep you away, that is how you solidify victory. So now the cool thing is with that safe jump I just showed you, if your opponent actually ends up if you end up conditioning your opponent to the point to where you keep doing that and they keep getting punished for it, maybe they'll learn to not continue to do DP or mash or anything like that, and they just decide to block instead. So now the really interesting thing is that can trust that your opponent is not going to DP with this safe jump. What you can do is get multiple overheads with your light after the medium in order to try to open up your opponent and get a full conversion. So again, if you do your full combo, you can get an additional 2 or so more overheads. So if your opponent doesn't block up the entire time and they just expected a safe jump, then you can just, you know, hit them in the head some more. So it's not only a safe jump, but you can also make it into potentially 3 overheads, which opens up opponents all the time. Or what you can even do as well is you can jump up medium and then go into a low, by them thinking maybe you're going to do more overheads into a full conversion. So the power of the safe jump, not only is it just simply safe, but you can also add some variations to it to either get more overheads or get a low. It's a fantastic tool, and this will help you maintain your turn and maintain your pressure, and this is going to be huge. Now, like what I was explaining before, I do have another variation of the safe jump, but instead it would actually be a cross-up. So again, you would do the same exact thing. I have Berserker set up to where he would do a DP. So again, you just want to finish your combo. And again, once you finish with the 1-inch punch, go into the jab. But instead of jumping up in neutral, you want to jump towards your opponent and hit medium. So it's essentially the same thing. The only difference is you're jumping behind your opponent. Because the cool thing about ending with your 1-inch punch is your opponent is actually not all the way in the corner. So this allows you to do this. So again, if you just do your combo, it is still a absolute safe jump. So again, if your opponent decides for whatever reason to not do a DP and just block, you get a full conversion. Just like so. So safe jumps are absolutely necessary in order to maintain your pressure, in order to potentially open up your opponent and punish them if they're trying to mash either their light or if they're going to be doing a DP or anything of that nature. That's why it's called a safe jump. The cross-up version is very, very good if you want to try to get just a opening on your opponent because they weren't expecting you to go behind them. But the other safe jump I showed you before, where you can mix that up into just some more overheads or into a low, definitely utilize these tools and mix them up depending on how it is your opponent likes to behave. Now, for this next setup that I'm going to show you guys, you can actually utilize it as either a safe jump setup or as a another pressure tool that actually has mix implemented with it for either a high or a low. Now, the reason why you would either go with the safe jump is, of course, if you do believe that your opponent has not yet learned its lesson from all the other safe jumps I showed you guys and is still using DP on wake up, and you anticipate they're going to do that, so you'd want to do the safe jump version. But if you feel like you did condition your opponent enough to the point to where they now understand that you have these safe jumps down and they're getting punished for their DPs, so perhaps they won't DP you on this next wake up, you can then go into the mix variation of this setup. So if I just go ahead and show you, the first thing I'll show you is the safe jump method, the safe jump variation of this setup here. So went ahead and got Berserker to have his DP setup. So essentially what you're going to do with this one is that you're going to knock him up into the air, kick him back down, but do your triple kick before you actually land on the ground, as you saw with all my other setups. So in order to do this new safe jump variant that I'm going to show you, essentially what you're going to do is that instead of, knocking your opponent into the ground, you yourself landing on the ground, going into the triple kick into the shoulder into the 1-inch punch, what you're going to do instead is that when you dive kick them back into the ground, do delay, want to go into your triple kick, your air tatsu, but you want to delay it a little bit after the dive kick, so you are about halfway towards the ground when you do your air tatsu. And immediately once your character lands, he will do like this, like, you know, like superhero pose, superhero landing, right? Immediately once you see your striker land with like this superhero pose, superhero landing, you want to jump with an instant light and then mash medium. So jump light into a medium, just like that. So if I put that in action, that is the next safe jump that you can do with her. And the reason why this safe jump is really good is, again, it has a variation where after you have conditioned your opponent to, you know, realize you have safe jumps and that they probably shouldn't DP on wake up, you can then instead go into the variation of this. So let's say your opponent is no longer mashing DP and instead they're just going to, you know, block what you're going to be doing. What you can do instead is when you go for your safe jump setup, which is, it's going to look exactly the same. That's the really cool thing about this one, is that they won't be able to determine what you're going to do next. So what you can do with this variation is that if you delay just ever so slightly after your superhero landing, like you would normally do to go into the instant jump light into medium, if you delay the jump from your landing after the air tatsu, you can then actually instant jump light into jump medium into dive kick into another air tatsu, and then you can either get an overhead or you can go for a low. And depending on how you delay it, which it's really hard to note to notice unless you're really looking for it as the opponent, this is a genuine like high-low mix, or at least as much of a mix as you can get in a game like this. So if I show you now what I mean, just like that. So I could either go for the overhead variant, where I get a light as I fall, or I can go for the low variant. Now, again, for the most part, this stuff can be reactable, but the reason why it makes it unreactable, or just not as reactable as people would like, is because of the fact that your opponent has so much to look out for against you. You know, you either get the safe jump where you get the multiple overheads, you get the cross-up safe jump, you just get the, you know, the insta light into medium safe jump. There's so many different variations of these setups that you can do as striker. That just adds all this mental stacking that makes it to where they don't know what you're going to do next, which makes normally, you know, relatively noticeable things or things that would be reactable not be nearly as reactable because you're in their head. Which you could even just simply go into the instant light into medium and to grab if you really wanted to. So there's so many different ways that you can go about, you know, mixing up your opponent. If you're either going to go with a high or a low, if you're going to do a safe jump, if you're going to do a cross up, are you going to go for a grab? Like, that's where strikers' strengths really come in as a rush down character. You want to utilize your ability to get all these safe jumps all the time in order to keep your turn and not let your opponent out. And there you guys have it. There are all of my striker setup, safe jumps, you know, just overall pressure options that you get as her when playing her as a character. So I really do hope this helps you guys out. If you guys want to, you know, share any of your thoughts, whether they're good or bad, I mean, please do be sure to leave a comment in the video. If you want to come and see all of this kind of be put together and set in action without me having to upload match videos, I mean, again, please do be sure to check out my Twitch channel. Link in the description. I start every day, Monday through Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And that way we can chat it up there. And, you know, you can kind of see the tech just live from its source. So thank you guys again very much for checking out the video. I'll be sure to upload more striker tech videos here in the coming future. Hopefully they come a little more consistently. So thank you for being patient with me, guys. And I will be sure to check you guys out in the next video.